When you're over 40 or have mature skin, it can be hard to find a truly flattering full coverage foundation that doesn't look heavy or cakey or gather into fine lines. But sometimes we want or need a foundation that has a bit more coverage. For example, I have a wedding this weekend, so I want a smoothing, natural looking foundation that I can build up to full coverage and that wears well. I've now done close to 300 multiple day thorough wear tests and reviews on various types of foundations for mature over 40 skin on this channel. And out of all the foundations I've tested to date, these are the ones that I think are the best at giving flattering, natural, full coverage for mature skin that doesn't look heavy or cakey. I have foundations here for all skin types at various price points. This video is kicking off my top foundations for mature skin video series. Other videos will be following with different categories of top foundations for mature skin. So to see those videos, and if you appreciate thorough reviews in general of foundations, concealers, skincare, and makeup in general, be sure to hit that subscribe button and then hit it again to select all to make sure you receive all notifications. Even if you're already subscribed to my channel, you may want to double check that all is selected right there. A lot of you in my comments say that you're not getting notifications when I upload, and that could be why. All right, let's get into these mature skin friendly, beautiful, full coverage foundations. I'm somewhat ranking these. I say somewhat because they're all good. So I'll be ending with my favorites, which may not be yours. A lot of variables come into play when we're talking about foundations. You may live in a different climate than I do. You may have a different skin type, making the first ones that I talk about your favorites. All of those things make a difference. So I am turning 49 soon, and I have combination skin that's pretty normal around the perimeter and can sometimes be dry, but I get some shine and oil breakthrough in the center of my face. And I also live in New Orleans, where it is hot and humid the majority of the year. So I am very, very hard on foundations because my climate is so challenging. No matter your skin type, it can be really hard just to keep foundations on your face here. I'm starting with a runner-up that I almost didn't include in this video. You'll understand why here in a second. This is Smashbox Always On Skin Balancing Foundation. It's vegan, cruelty-free, alcohol-free, and has no synthetic fragrance. I'm in shade L20N for reference. If you're curious about any of my foundation or concealer shade matches, I keep a running list over on my blog. It's always linked down in my description box, along with all the products I'm sharing and wearing today. I'll also have the thorough reviews and wear tests I did on each of these foundations down in my description box for you too, if you're interested in seeing the applications and just all the details on every single one. I'd say the coverage of this is buildable from medium to full, but the best thing is that this applies and blends out very quickly and easily and gives you time to work with it. A lot of times when we're talking about full coverage or long wearing foundations, those types of foundations can start to fuse with your skin and set down really quickly. So there's a specific way you really need to apply them, which we'll talk about when we start talking about other foundations. But you don't have to worry about that with this. This feels lightweight and gives a natural finish that's flattering on my skin. It improves the look of my pores, but doesn't blur them completely, which I'm fine with. I mean, we have pores. Now, without a primer, I start to get shine breakthrough about 3 to 4 hours in. That continues throughout the day, and 9 to 10 hours is about the max I get before it starts looking too oily and starts to exaggerate and settle into my pores and texture and into my forehead crease. So you might be wondering, why am I including this at all, even as a runner-up? After I reviewed this, I saw so many people of all skin types, all ages, swear by this for all day beautiful flattering wear, and it looked gorgeous on their skin, but they didn't have the same humidity conditions that I have. So I think this is a foundation that is affected by the humidity in my environment that can be remedied with a primer, although not remedied to the extent of some of the other foundations that I'm going to share in this video. This is one of those foundations that just because it's not 100% my perfect foundation doesn't mean it won't work for you. If you have oily or combination skin and live in a less humid environment than I do, or if you have dry skin in general, I think this could be a really pretty full coverage, long wearing foundation that's easy to work with, and that is such a rare find for dry, mature skin, so I wanted to include it in this video. The next full coverage foundation on my list is CoverGirl Outlast Extreme Wear 3-in-1 Foundation. This is cruelty-free and vegan. I have it in shade 840 Natural Beige. This applies and blends out quickly and easily and gives medium to full build buildable coverage that feels lightweight and gives a beautiful, smoothing, natural, soft matte finish. This lasts a long time on my skin with or without primer and feels comfortable while doing so. I think this could be a great foundation for all skin types. When I don't wear a primer with this, I do get a bit of shine during the day, but it still lasts. It still looks beautiful. Because of that though, I do prefer to wear a mattifying primer underneath it, especially in the warmer, more humid months, just to combat that shine that I get in my shine prone areas. It never emphasizes any dry areas I have on my face. So for that reason, I think dry skin could wear this too. You may want to try a moisturizing or illuminating primer under it, but as I said, it's never emphasized any of the dry areas I've ever had on my face. Now, if you have sensitive skin or rosacea like I do, this is one that you may want to reserve for special occasions because there is a chemical sunscreen in here. I did want to make you aware of that. But if you're looking for a really long wearing, flattering, full coverage foundation that doesn't break the bank, this is a good one. I almost reserved the Sisley Phyto Tint Perfection foundation for a different foundation video, but it had to go in this one too. I'm in shade 2in1 Sand. This is an alcohol-free skincare makeup hybrid foundation that is buildable from medium to full coverage, and I am always stunned by the natural, smooth, skin-like coverage I get from such a tiny amount of product. At least if you're spending this kind of money for a luxury foundation, you get a lot for your money. This does start to fuse with your skin as you blend it out and sort of set down, but it doesn't set so quickly that you can't blend it out. It does give you time to work with it. There's sort of a faint, pleasant, expensive floral scent to this at first. Fragrance is listed towards the bottom fourth of the ingredient list. It's pretty far down there. I don't notice it after it's on my face. After I apply this, the finish is very natural, smooth, skin-like, and dewy. And once my makeup is complete, after I've set with translucent powder, which is something I need to do for my skin type, it has a soft, natural, sort of radiant matte finish. It's somewhere in between a soft matte and a satin finish. Now, I do get some shine breakthrough when I don't wear a primer, but the coverage and smoothness last all day, and it never settles into my pores or my lines, and my makeup just looks beautiful all day. If you have mature skin that's normal to dry, possibly even combination depending on how much radiance you like to see come through, and you're looking for a full coverage skin-like foundation that lasts beautifully throughout the day and looks like expensive skin, I think you'll love this. Now, if you have oily skin or if you have combination skin and you just don't want to battle shine in your T-zone, there will probably be other foundations in this video you'll like more. It's a beautiful foundation, but it may not be for everyone. MAC reformulated their Studio Fix Fluid Foundation to give it a soft matte finish, 87% skincare ingredients, and a pump. There are 67 shades. I'm able to wear both N6 and NC16 in the winter. Still working on my summer shade. It was NC25, but their shades have changed a little. I'll let you know when I work out my slightly deeper shade soon. This is another one that starts to fuse with your skin as you blend it out, but it's still easy to work with and blend. It's buildable from medium to full coverage and smooths pores beautifully and looks natural in the process of building it, no matter how much you build it. The finish of this is almost a satin finish before I set it and a soft matte finish after my makeup is finished and everything is set. No matter what, this foundation stays put all day long. How matte this foundation stays is really primer and weather dependent for me. If it's really hot and humid outside and I'm not wearing any primer, it gives me shine breakthrough around 3 hours in that continues throughout the day. But if it's less humid, which is kind of rare here, I don't have that same issue. Or if it is a hot and humid day and I'm wearing a good mattifying primer, I again don't have that issue. I may have to blot once or twice a day, which is really good for someone who gets shine breakthrough and lives in a hot, humid environment. This also wears really well on any areas I've had that have been dry, and it just stays flattering all day, no matter what conditions have gone on with my skin. This is one of those rare, soft matte, full coverage, long wearing foundations that I think could work across any skin type and be flattering all day. This is your friendly reminder about how loose this ranking is, especially these last ones. And the last two, MAC and Sisley. I interchange all of these. I use these these for different reasons, different moods, different times of year. They're all good. So just keep that in mind. So this is the KVD Good Apple foundation that I almost didn't even try, but I'm so glad I did. It's vegan, cruelty-free, alcohol-free, and fragrance-free. I'm in shade 045, which is not the shade I started with. What you're gonna see in the clip, I think, is a shade that was way too light for me, but I liked it so much that I found a match. This is also a skincare makeup hybrid. And one thing to keep in mind with this foundation in particular is that the shades look different when they're wet from when they're dry because of the high percentage of pigment and the ingredients that give it extreme long wear. So when you pick your shade, they say to be sure to let it dry down completely first to see the true color of the pigment. This is a foundation that fuses with your skin as you apply it. It does give extreme long wear, which is a beautiful thing. So I recommend applying it in thin layers, in sections, and applying it pretty quickly. I have a video. I actually have two videos, but I'll attach the one for Estee Lauder Double Wear, how to apply Estee Lauder Double Wear without looking cakey. That's helped out a lot of people when it comes to applying quick setting foundations. It just gives a beautiful, natural, seamless look. This is another foundation like the Sisley foundation that always amazes me at the smooth, natural coverage it gives from such a little amount of product, whether I'm wearing it medium coverage or building it up to full coverage. It feels very lightweight on my skin. It's blurring and smoothing and gives a beautiful natural matte finish. I get some very moderate natural glow during the day, but no greasiness whatsoever, no oiliness, and no makeup breakdown. It wears beautifully, even on the most hot, humid days. On days when I've had some extremely dry areas, it could pick up on those a little bit. So if you have very dry skin, this is not a foundation I would recommend for you. But if you have normal to oily skin, I think this is a foundation you will love. It's full coverage, it's extremely long wearing, making it very reliable on a long day, and it's overall just a beautiful foundation. This is NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. I think it's so underrated. It's cruelty-free and vegan, alcohol-free, and has no added fragrance. I have it in the shade Natural. This is one of those foundations that starts to set very quickly, so you do need to work with it pretty fast. So I'm going to recommend applying it the same way as the previous foundation. That how-to video is down in my description box and up in the corner. This is buildable from medium to full coverage and gives a beautiful, natural, soft matte finish that's flattering and pore smoothing and budge proof all day long, even in the worst heat and humidity, without a primer. I've worn this under the most extreme conditions. I've sweated in this and it has held up beautifully. I know this video isn't about long-lasting foundations, it's about full coverage foundations, but sometimes those things go hand in hand. I'll get some moderate shine under those extreme conditions, but there is no makeup breakdown. My makeup stays looking absolutely beautiful. Now, if you have dry skin, I don't think this is going to be the foundation for you, but if you have normal to oily skin and you live in an extremely hot, humid environment, or if you're doing something where you're going to be sweating and you are worried about your makeup slipping off during the day and you want a flattering, smoothing, budge-proof, buildable, medium to full coverage drugstore foundation, this is my favorite for giving a soft matte finish that holds up beautifully. My next full coverage foundation is one that was a surprise hit for a lot of us after it launched. This is Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation. I'm in shade 160. This is also a makeup skincare hybrid that to me has some different beneficial ingredients in it that don't just nourish and hydrate like most foundations. They help calm, heal, and visibly reduce redness and irritation and protect your skin from stress. This is another foundation that starts to set pretty quickly, so you want to work pretty quickly in thin layers, in sections, as we've already talked about. This is buildable from medium to full coverage and looks very natural and skin-like, even when you're going all the way to full coverage. It's very smoothing and it has a natural radiant finish, but without a shimmer or a sheen. It just looks like your skin and it feels very lightweight all day long. Now, when I don't wear a primer, which is the way I prefer to wear it because it just sits so beautifully on my skin that way. I get moderate shine, but not greasiness. Midday, I get some more shine as the day goes on, but I get zero makeup breakdown. And I don't really mind having to blot with this foundation because it just sits so beautifully on my skin. If I have a day that I want to be maintenance free, I'll just wear a primer under it, no problem. If you have very oily skin, or if you're oily and you just don't want to deal with blotting, this may not be the foundation for you unless you use a mattifying primer. But if you have combination or normal to dry skin, I just think this is so beautiful. I really want to say this is great for all skin types, but to be safe, I'm going to say normal to dry skin. This is just such a beautiful foundation. A little bit goes a long way. It covers and wears beautifully all day. I mean, I have combination skin and live in a humid environment, and it's one of my favorites. When I test luxury foundations, I expect a lot, as we should, but they don't always deliver. This one did. This is the Christian Louboutin, I have to read the name, Teint Fétiche La Fluide. The shade I have is 20 Dune Nude. This is a vegan alcohol-free formula with a skincare complex. It's supposed to actively care for your skin while you wear it. This does start to fuse with your skin as you apply it, so it seems like it's going to set too quickly and not give you enough time to blend it out, but it does. I find this very easy to work with. There's a very faint, pleasant, sweet kind of powdery scent that I notice at first, but I don't notice it after it's applied. Fragrance is about halfway down the ingredient list, which is only an issue if you're sensitive to that particular fragrance. In a product, I have sensitive skin with rosacea and I have had no issues. This has a very thin texture that's buildable from medium to full coverage, and it smooths and blurs my skin beautifully and looks like skin. It gives me a soft satin finish before setting, and after my makeup's done and everything is set, it's a natural, beautiful matte finish. It's not a flat matte. As I wear this throughout the day and my oils start to settle in with it, I get a soft glow. I never get oily or greasy. Even at the end of a really long day, I just have a nice soft glow going on with this foundation, and my skin stays looking nice and smooth and beautiful. This is another foundation that gives beautiful, expensive looking skin. Earlier, I stated Sisley was a little bit better if you had skin on the drier side of things, if you wanted a more radiant finish. Well, if you want a soft matte finish, if you have more normal to oily skin and you're looking for a soft matte natural skin-like finish that's buildable for medium to full coverage, this is stunning. Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup is not my mattest full coverage foundation. It's not the one I always reach for, yet here it is in the #1 spot. There are a couple of reasons for that I'll go over here in a second. The shade I have and have been wearing throughout this video is 2N2 Buff. It contains no alcohol, no added fragrance. It's suitable for sensitive acne-prone skin, and they created this to feel light and comfortable on your skin and last through heat and humidity. It's also oil-free and oil controlling, yet great for all skin types. A little bit goes a long way. I cannot emphasize that enough, and it sets very, very quickly. I see people dotting this all over their face and then trying to blend it out or going in with too much, and that is not the best way to apply this foundation. It most likely will fail miserably if you try to apply it that way, and that's why I did that initial video of how to apply Estee Lauder Double Wear without looking cakey. That's helped out so many of you with this foundation. It needs to be applied in thin layers in sections and then assessed to see where it needs to be built, if at all. And it gives beautiful medium to full coverage depending on how you want to build it, with a beautiful, flattering, natural finish that's somewhere in between matte and radiant. It's not really satin, it's just a natural finish, and it feels very lightweight. If applied correctly, it will never look heavy or cakey. If I wear no primer with this, I will usually have to blot shine in my shine prone areas every 4 hours or so. It's not the mattest full coverage long wearing foundation that I have, but it lasts all day and all night through heat and humidity, through sweat, and it looks perfect while doing so. And when I say perfect, I mean your makeup will look freshly applied when you go to take it off at the end of the night. That's a large reason why I do have it at number one. It's a foundation that is just reliable. I can reach for it and I know it's always going to look good even without a primer. For not just me, but for anyone with any skin type. There are so many people that love this foundation. It's been a bestseller for years and years and years and years for a reason. If you do your proper skincare, your skin prep in the morning, even without a primer, it's beautiful. But if you add a primer for your appropriate skin type, it can enhance this foundation even more. If you have dry skin, using a moisturizing primer, for example, in my case, using a mattifying primer makes it virtually maintenance free. It also mixes with other foundations really well if I want to increase their longevity or the coverage of a lighter coverage foundation. I use other full coverage foundations regularly, but Double Wear will always have a soft spot in my heart because it's such a good all-around foundation for anyone of any age with any skin type. To see my wear tests and foundation reviews for mature skin, click here and subscribe to see my upcoming top foundations for mature skin. I hope you found this helpful and enjoyable. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.